Forged by the fires of the Crucible, but they are now factory-made. These three young men, Joshua Wells, Xavier Faraday, and starting things off for their team, JoSue Ibanez in the ring for the first ever trios match of their very young careers. And boy, did they draw the short end of the stick, because they're taking on the Proteus Wheel. I'm Mike Quackenbush here at Commentation Station inside the Wrestle Factory, our home base and training facility, as Ibanez ties up Frantic down on the mat. You know, down on the mat, everybody's the same size. There's no height advantage down there. And I think Frantic knows it. Back to his vertical base as quickly as possible. And Ibanez in a whole lot of trouble. Throws him off inside of the body, scissors up. Oh, he's going right out. Yeah, Ibanez ejected from the ring. That's going to make either Faraday or Wells legal. It's Xavier Faraday. Faraday inside the ropes. And Calix the Castigator, the heaviest member of the Proteus Wheel. Faraday's given up over 100 pounds to Calix the Castigator. He's got a stick and move. Woo! And Zugiri and a beauty. Calix is unfazed underneath the big boot. It's going to be a game of evasion. Faraday pouring on the speed. That's one department in which Calix cannot match him. Calix is much bigger, much more powerful. Look at the power. Look at the strength of this man monster. Just caught him right out of the air. Oh, Faraday landed on his feet. A terrific display of agility. Underneath one more time. There was a tag, I thought. Faraday evacuates the ring, creating a path for Joshua Wells. Calix has barely taken a back step, but it's Volgar reaching out from the corner, making himself legal. Volgar stepping in and eats a forearm from Joshua Wells. And yes, you may have heard what Professor Nicodemus intoned from the outside. What feels like a lifetime ago, this young man, Joshua Wells, served as our ring announcer under the alias of Preston Blathers. Oh, power slam with authority! All that forward momentum this trio had mounted just came to a screeching halt. Locking on one of the most time-honored holds in all of wrestling, the full Nelson, is Volgar. This allows him to put pressure down on the very top of the spine. Wildly powerful hold. Wells has got to find a way out of this. Full Nelson into a slam. Wells is in a world of hurt. Whoa, left shoulder blade came up. I think this factory-made trio needs to get the fresh man in the ring. At this point, I would wager to say that's going to be Ibanez. He's had the most time to catch his breath out on the corner. Pendulum backbreaker to Volgar, now being stretched out into a hold. We've seen the offense thus far of the forged trio of Wells, Faraday, and Ibanez, and that has been very quickly executed, oftentimes very elegant, very well thought out moves. Contrast that against what we've seen from the Proteus Wheel. Their offense is brutishly simple and devastating. No adjective better describes their offense than devastating. The Proteus Wheel also enjoys a much longer tenure as a team here at CHIKARA. As I mentioned, for Faraday, Wells, and Ibanez, this is their first time as a trio inside the ring. Whoa, disgusting! Woo! Listen to the sound of that flesh-on-flesh contact. Chopping away at the chest. That's not gonna get you anywhere. Calix able to shrug off the kind of offense that would put most wrestlers down on the mat. Grabbed him by the cranium and thrust him skull first with the Castigator. And a really lazy cover. Nonchalant, Jess. You're gonna have to do more than that if you want to hold Joshua Wells down for the count of 3. Unfortunately, I bet the Proteus Wheel has something even more nefarious up their non-existent sleeves. None of them have sleeves, if you haven't noticed. Back elbow, that's a smart move. Wells used the momentum of Calix against him. Good grief. What an onslaught of offense. Wells is in a whole heap of trouble. He's got to cross that 18-square-foot ring and tag either Ibanez or Faraday, or alternatively, under our system of rules, he's got to exit the ring, breaking the plane of the ropes, so that one, just like that, exactly like that, this makes Ibanez legal! And he just dove into the waiting arms of Calix the Castigator. Sneaking around the back, he's looking for a sleeper hold. This is different from a rear naked choke, fans. He is not closing the windpipe, he's trying to constrict the carotid artery. And now it is Frantic who is legal. The Proteus Wheel working like a well-oiled machine of destruction today inside the Wrestle Factory. Ever since the CHIKARA saw the trio of Wells, Faraday, and Ibanez turn their backs on the exceptionally cruel training methods of the Crucible and walk away from the merciless hierarchy of Ophidian and his unauthorized after-hours fight club, it seems as if our fans have just been waiting for the factory-made trio of Ibanez, Wells, and Faraday to get to strut their stuff. And thus far, they have really struggled to do so in there with the powerhouses of Calix, Frantic, and Vulgar. JoSue Ibanez, sometimes people are mispronouncing that as JoSue. We've all just kind of agreed to call him Joey. Has been in there now, taking 3 or 4 high-impact moves without so much as a sign of defense. Having spent time in the ring helping these guys hone their vast and varied skills, I can tell you, the best defensive wrestler on their team is Wells. Ibanez is much stronger on offense. Vulgar rids the corner of the other members, and what is this? What is this? He just used his partner like an offensive weapon. The midsection of Ibanez crushed. The Proteus Wheel. They aren't done yet. What is Calix thinking? What is he imagining they're going to do to Ibanez? He's loaded Frantic for a powerbomb. Oh, good grief! Ibanez's ribcage is shattered. It's shattered. And Wells coming in to distract Calix, getting him to step off of Ibanez, might have been the only thing that prevented that third count from being registered. How is Ibanez even moving after those 2 moves? Frantic was power-bombed down onto his ribcage. This shows you the sheer determination of Ibanez. Plain and simple. It's determination. Vulgar comes running. Oh, he just hit his own partner. There's a window of opportunity. And here comes Xavier Faraday. Woo! Did you see him fly into the corner? Now trying to split the difference between his 2 heaviest opponents. Oh! One open-handed chop from Calix the Castigator, and it will completely change the complexion of a match. And now, trapped between these 2 super heavyweights, Faraday. Whoa! Did you see that? At the last split second, Wells pushed his partner out of the way. That's a great defensive game. And the old 1-2 combination has rocked Vulgar. Double drop kick, shades of the Rock and Roll Express. Double clothesline. It's a double enziguri. This time they remind me of the Fantastics. They're going deep in the tag team playbook. And now it's all 3 members of this factory-made trio ejecting Vulgar from the ring. Oh, frantic like a one-man wrecking crew. Turned his back on Ibanez, going back on offense with a sleeper hold. As I alluded to, he's trying to restrict the carotid artery. He's trying to prevent the blood flow from reaching the brain. And even these seemingly mindless brutes of the Proteus Wheel, well, they do have brains, and you restrict that blood flow, they do go to sleep. Will we see Frantic go to sleep in the middle of the ring? The referee is checking, but look out on the apron. Calix and Vulgar are stirring. Can they hold them off? That's it! Ibanez put Frantic to sleep. Yes, they may have been forged in the fires of the Crucible, but Wells, Ibanez, and Faraday just endured their baptism of fire in trios action and came out with hands raised in victory.